Well, if you haven't heard, there are way more buyers right now than there are available homes. And these buyers are waiving contingencies, waiving option periods, and paying more than list price. I'm starting to get more phone calls from homeowners right now, and they're asking me whether now is a better time to put their house on the market or if they should wait and get even more for their house later. So I thought I'd do this video and go over some of the things that you should take into consideration. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you a piece of information that, if it's true, could literally flip this market and take away all the seller advantages a lot quicker than anybody, myself included, even thinks is possible. If you're thinking about selling your house, the first thing you should consider are the capital gain savings. Once you understand the tax savings on the appreciation of your primary residence, in a market like we've been in for the last 10 years, it sometimes can make sense to sell your house a lot faster than most people usually do. If you've lived in your house for 2 of the previous 5 years, you can avoid taxes completely on $250,000 of appreciation if you're single and $500,000 if you're married, but only if it's your primary residence. For comparison, under current tax law for 2021, in these income ranges, your tax rate for capital gains is 15%. If your income is under, you don't pay any capital gains tax, and if it's over, the rate goes to 20%. Now, we're not going to get into what it might be if some of the tax increases actually get through Congress. So for example's sake, we're going to use the 15%. At a 15% tax rate, every dollar that is not taxed is actually worth 18% more. And there's no limit to how many times you can do this, provided that the transactions take place within at least a 2-year window. Quick disclaimer, everything I've just told you is publicly available information, but I highly encourage you to consult a tax advisor to verify it. Another thing to consider if you're thinking about selling your house is new construction. You know, it was less than a year ago when this was a very common scenario. Phase 1 of a subdivision was complete. The homes were 3 to 4 years old. And in phase 2 of the development, they were building new homes. If one of those homes in phase 1 were put on the market, they would be in direct competition with the new builds in phase 2. So the new builds acted as sort of an appreciation cap. I mean, think about it. No one is going to pay more for a 3 or 4 year old house if they could buy a brand new one for less money. Fast forward to today, and those builders are completely sold out of the new builds. And we have seen this time and time again. The only house in the neighborhood that's listed for sale, and because of the buyer demand, the sales price is 10 to 40% higher than the list price. Which brings up the question, is that if you can get that kind of a premium now, what would that look like in another 6 months? Well, to answer that question, let's start with a question. Let's flip it and say you're the builder, and you're coming off some of your best years, and now you have more customers than you can possibly handle. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to figure out how you can build more homes? We're already seeing this start to happen. Milestone, for example, is not currently selling new houses, but they're building 100 new homes in just one development. Now, those buyers may not get quite as many design options, but those buyers are going to have houses available to buy. Another thing you should keep in mind are the changing buyer preferences. For the last several years, we've seen this trend where more and more people want to live closer to downtown, not just in Austin, but in every major city in the United States. This has driven development near the urban core and has pushed property values higher and higher. About a year ago, the lockdown started, people started working from home, and they began to figure out that they valued things such as more space, a home office, their own yard. So we began to see much more buyer activity in the suburbs. According to Forbes, 70% of the workforce could be working remotely by 2025. Now, if you've got a house you're thinking about selling in the suburbs, this could be good news. But if you've got that tiny house or that condo downtown, it may not be in your best interest to wait. If you're thinking about selling your house, the following information could change everything. Which brings us to the one piece of information that could flip this entire market. Coldwell Banker commissioned a survey that showed that 20% of homeowners plan to list their house for sale in the next 12 months. In some of my other videos, I've talked about how big the number of new listings would have to be to move us out of this current seller's market. Well, 20% of all the homes out there is a big enough number. And if this actually happened, the way it would work would be the sellers on the front end of this curve would continue to see the price premiums and the buyer concessions. But as the number of listings grew, it could eventually catch up with demand. And if the number of new listings was big enough, it could potentially flip it to a buyer's market. Remember, over time, real estate will appreciate. But the rate of appreciation we've seen in just the last couple of months cannot go on forever. Let's use a stock market example. I own Tesla stock, and I was riding the wave at the tail end of last year. I think it eventually peaked at $880 per share. I didn't sell it because I kept thinking, wow, how much higher can it go? Well, it wasn't too long after that the price settled back into the mid 600 range. Now, it's still a nice appreciation compared to what I bought it at, but the difference between 650 and 800 is a difference of 35%, and that is a pretty big number. Well, I hope this was helpful. You know, I get emails, texts, and phone calls almost every day for people who are thinking about buying or selling real estate here in the Austin area, and I would love to help you out too. If you like my videos, subscribe to the channel and be sure to hit that notification bell. All of my contact information is in the video description, so don't be shy. Let's make your real estate dreams come true.